So today I'm going to be talking to you one of the biggest secrets to living an epic life. Are you ready to learn something which will transform your life to something epic? I'm going to be sharing the truth here, my personal truth, which I feel that you will really resonate with the frequency that I'm speaking from. You see, I want you to shine. I want you to live a life of emotional freedom. I want you to experience something so deep and so profound inside of you that you are living the life of emotional freedom that allows you to step up outside of the fears, the doubts, the shadows, all those things. And it all comes down to frequency. And in two ways, really, the frequency of doing something, but more importantly, the frequency of the thing that we're doing. So what do I mean by that? Well, I've always said, and I've heard this from many different people over the years, that what you want wants you. Now that sounds crazy, that sounds weird, but the thing that I want actually wants me. How can money want me, Joseph? How can that partner I've never even met before want me? How can that freedom, that confidence, that enlightenment want me in any way, because I'm far from that? Well, that's really the problem. You see, the basis of an issue shows up in your world, and it's a feedback loop of continuing the same type of thoughts and feelings and behaviors. Everything is a frequency. Everything is energy. And I don't want to go too woo-woo la-la, although I love it, but let's just break it down. Thoughts are energy. The things that we're doing is a production of energy. The behaviors, the beliefs that we have are just inside our mind operating from a certain frequency. Now, if you're operating from the frequency of self-doubt, or all the worries, all the fears, all those stuff that we don't want, guess what happens? You are unconsciously pushing that out into the world, and that pushing out, that projection at an unconscious level, is going to be attracting more of the same back. And that's the feedback loop, okay? That is why people who are depressed continue to stay depressed. The people who are anxious continue to get that cycle of anxiety. Have you noticed that? That when you're anxious, it just feeds more anxiety? Because that is a frequency that we're putting out. We are just experiencing and projecting that set of emotions, energy in motion, the thoughts, the behaviors out into the world. So if you're operating from a bad place, the bad mindset, the mindset which is just breeding, and I'm really saying like breeding more negativity, you are pushing that out and you're getting that back in return. The frequency that you're operating from right now will be in turn bringing in the exact same thing. And we are just like a radio station, or you could say a radio, tuning into a certain frequency. You might be tuning into the fear, you might be tuning into the anxiety, the low self-esteem, the confidence, all those things. And that is just breeding more of the same. Now, if you are going to make the epic shift in your life, you absolutely have to change your frequency. I'll tell you a quick story. Just last week, I was crazy tired. I wasn't having much sleep. I had maybe like 5-6 hours a day, and I don't operate well with just 6 hours sleep a day because I like to work hard. I like to work really efficiently and be able to just project and be able to have my day work for me. But because of a lack of sleep, guess what? My frequency, my energy was just low. And guess what? Things weren't working. It was always really weird. It's like my phone wasn't working. All these things were just going wrong. My body wasn't moving how I wanted to. When I was going for a run, I just couldn't do it. My frequency was attracting a lack of productivity. It was breeding frustration. It was just expanding that negativity, that doubt in my mind saying, I'm tired, I just want to stop. And I hate that feeling, don't you? Don't you just hate that feeling? And especially if you're experiencing this on a consistent level. I mean, thankfully for me personally, I rarely experience that unless I've had lack of sleep, right? Because my body's just operating. But that is a frequency that I was operating at, and I was just getting that back into me. What I was putting out, and I believe that just in general, if you put good out into the world, guess what? I believe good comes back. If you're putting bad in the world, I think it wants to come back at you as well. Because you are pushing out, it's like a do-with process. It's a frequency between you and the world, the you and the universe, you and the people, you and your family, you and your work, you and your money. It is just this cooperative flow of energy operating, which is being able to project or receive that transmission that you're putting out. So I'm going a little bit out there today, but that's all good because this is just biology as well, right? So there's a part in your brain called the reticular activating system. Well, Joseph, what is the reticular activating system? It's pretty much this. You decide to buy a new car, you love the make and model, you begin to see that make and model just drive around you everywhere because it's like, how am I just seeing the car that I want everywhere now? Because it's in the forefront of your mind. And because it's in the forefront of your mind and it's of importance to you, you see that. You're telling your brain to seek out more. It's like when you, what's another good example? So we've got the car one, always do usually a good one. Oh, it's like learning a new word, right? You learn a new word, and guess what? You see that new word just popping up everywhere. How does that happen? That word must have been out there in your reality. The car that you've been wanting must have been out there. But because it wasn't important to you, you don't see it. Your brain is deleting it. It's literally deleting it out of your reality despite it always being there. And that is the exact same thing. And here's the good and the bad, right? Your brain, the world, is indifferent to what you're projecting out there. It doesn't care. It really doesn't care. I mean, it's just indifferent. If you're projecting negativity and that's where you're operating your frequency, you're just going to get it back. The world, the universe, whatever you want to believe in, it doesn't care. It is not subjective to you, is just operating to what you are pushing out there. So it's very indifferent. Okay, that is why we have to change our frequency. If you're operating from negativity, you're not going to get all the good stuff into your life because you're telling your brain doesn't mind. That's why when you think about it, anxiety is there to try to protect you. But if you're operating from anxiety or operating from fear, it's just going to breed more of it. You're going to get and attract more of it. So the frequency you're putting out is so important. The frequency from light to negativity will dictate the light and the negativity back to you. So here's my lesson to you. Now I'm going to go a lot deeper into this soon in different places. But what you have to do is this. You have to consider what you want, okay? Now, I don't want you to be locked down by what you want. I mean, you could be saying, well, Joseph, I want the brand new BMW. I want XYZ. I want a holiday. I want the perfect wife, perfect husband, the perfect XYZ, right? I get that. That is your wants. That is your desires. Fine, I have no problem with any one of your desires as long as you're doing good for the world, right? Good for self, good for others, good to society, good for the world. That is like a holistic, wonderful way of operating in this world, which helps. So use it for good, all this information. We don't want any negative kind of evil type of projections out there, right? You got to use this for good because it always works, always works. So you have to decide upon what you want. This works biologically wise. This works in your mind, your body. It operates all on those levels, as well as if you believe in the esoteric side of things and all those things. I mean, like the, like the Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, the Marianne Williamson's, also the Course in Miracles stuff, all those kind of things, right? It just works. Whatever you believe in, I'm fine. I'm not very judgmental on what you believe in. That's your personal truth, but this will help every single time, all the time. So you decide upon what you want. Once you decide upon you want, You put it to one side and you realize this. What will that get you? What feeling will it get you in every way? Is it going to get you a deep peace, a deep contentment, a fulfillment, a drive, a success, love, joy, gratitude? Think of what it will get you, regardless if your goal is internal or external. Decide upon what you want and then consider what feeling that will give you, okay? Once you get that feeling, it is your job to just experience that, nothing else. You have to just operate from that frequency because what you want wants you. If you want, say, the car, and that car gives you gratitude and freedom, your job is just to be so full of gratitude and the feeling of freedom, regardless of the car, and just vibrate, radiate, project that out into the world. And your mind, on the reticular activating system, will begin to seek out things similar to that. Now, if that's a car, great job, because you know that works, right? So it's going to be working there. But the great thing is, it's going to be attracting everything else similar to that. And if you want freedom and gratitude, for example, I think it's a good idea that you're not just getting it from the physical object, you're getting it from so many different opportunities, which then feeds that loop again to be able to gain more and become more. Okay, so you have to, your sole job for 2017 is to operate from the frequency, the energy, the feeling, the emotion that you want from your goal as much as possible, okay? You don't just need, yes, right, you just don't need the thing. You just have to operate from what the thing gives you. Now, what does that do? It increases gratitude. It increases the ability and removes you away from scarcity and doubt of the lack of that thing. Because if you're operating from the feeling of the thing that you want, even without it, you're telling your system that there's no need for scarcity, there's no need for fear, there's no need for doubt. Because you know what? I'm just happy operating from that frequency, which is a complete game changer in living life. This is far deeper than things. This is all about the inner you. When you work on the inner universe of you, the inner world of you, the inner mind of you, you will be able to transcend the external world around you, because the world that you see is through your 5 senses, maybe 6 if you believe in 6, or all those cool, wonderful things. But if you're operating from those 5 senses and you're projecting all that negativity, the low frequency, you are just looking for the same amount of things operating from that level. You cannot expect to get good in your world if you're operating from a poor, bad frequency. You are the radio. And if you're tuning in to the rock station, then that's what you're going to get, right? So if you're tuning in to depression and low self-esteem and fear and doubt, you're going to tune into that station even more so. So it's your job to consider, what do you want? Think of the feeling behind that, of what it will give you, and then slowly you're moving the dial of that radio station in your mind to what you want. And then somehow it's going to locate exactly what you want. I don't know how it works. Here's a weird, wonderful thing. I know the science, the biology of that, to a degree, like the reticular activating system, but I don't know how that amazingly epic thing works at a deeper level. I have my ideas, but it just works. But the problem is that you might be trying consciously to get all those things, but if you're unconsciously trying to do it, but your unconscious mind is just operating from that low frequency, you're not going to get anywhere. You might get somewhere, but you're not going to get anywhere good, because your unconscious mind is so much more profound in its way of achieving things. Now, that's why we have issues, right? If you could consciously change, you would have let go of the issue. If you cannot do that, it must mean the unconscious mind is running the issue. So you could be battling at this conscious level, but if your unconscious mind is just bringing you down, you're not going to get there. So you need to work with your unconscious mind as well. But I want you to realize that if you are intending to make any change in your life, if you want to let go of the emotional pain, the stress, the conflict inside of you, you have to be operating from the frequency of your desires. What you want wants you. And if you're tapping into anxiety, fear, That's what you're unconsciously sending into the world, and guess what? That wants you as well. Like I said, it's non-judgmental. It's not going to discriminate between good and bad. It is just receiving and operating from what you are putting out there. But if you change your frequency, you are going to change what you're putting out, and more importantly, what you're receiving. That's why I love the feeling of gratitude. That helps, because you're operating from abundance. You're operating from everything is all good. I'm just thankful for all the other good things coming into my world. So I want to leave you with that. Now, here's a thing for Mind Mastery members. If you are a Mind Mastery member, you are getting a hypnosis track after the break, and you'll be able to download it, listen to it, and operate from the frequency that you want. Okay, so that is one of the perks of being a Mind Mastery member, and you can be able to get this own track for yourself if you become a Mind Mastery member, because at the end of the day, that means you're supporting yourself, you're supporting the show of Joseph Clough, impacting the world to as many people as possible. But if you sign up, you're going to get that unconscious attraction, the big thing. And if we remove the conflicts there, you're going to shine to a whole level. But if you want to carry on just on the free side of things, that is absolutely fine. Go ahead and just take what I've learned and just notice how you can make those changes. But if you want the edge, go ahead and join Mind Mastery, because that means you'll be gaining the insights at a deep unconscious level and allow you to attract what you want. I like to think almost on autopilot. So I hope you enjoyed this session. I look forward to speaking to you all very soon. I should have said, if you do want to be able to join Mind Mastery, just go to josephclough.info/mindmastery and actually become a member. That means you get welcomed into the Mind Mastery family, and that means you transform. Most days you get to speak to me, or I get to speak to you, and also you get the live coaching and access to the blueprint, the step-by-step plan in achieving all the things that you want. So I look forward to speaking to you all soon. I'm going to talk to Mind Mastery right now for this matter, so I'm going to just stop this one. So many thanks and goodbye.